Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Zen Manga here, and I'm just doing a quick video on Marvel's Capcom Infinite and the possible inclusion on X-Men characters. Now, there's a lot of controversy whether the X-Men characters will be in the game or not in the game, or they might be DLC. Whether or not they're DLC or they have a primary impact in the regular roster of the game, I still want to talk about the possibility of the characters being in the game and which characters they probably will go with. So, just talking alongside that, I do believe, but with everything that's been happening with the X-Men, they've been kind of shifted or swept under the carpet as superheroes, and fans have rebelled basically and said, what is going on? So, Marvel Comics is basically doing a soft reboot, and the soft reboot is the X-Men Resurrection, and it's coming in lines with single-based comic books and also new team-based resurrections. And I'm going to talk about the first team that I think is going to be really included. Maybe some of those characters won't be in it, but hopefully they will, because I like the selection and I like the diversity of the team. So X-Men Gold is one of the new books that are coming out for X-Men Resurrection, and again, it's a soft reboot. They're not directly changing everything that's happened, but it is a soft reboot, and it's written by Mark Guggenheim. And on this team, we have Old Man Logan. Now, Old Man Logan, I think, is a really great inclusion into the game, if he was to be included in the game. Number one, we already have Old Man Logan coming out. Fox is releasing a movie for Old Man Logan, and also I think the maturity of the character is really great. Now, we know, if you don't know, that in the comic books, original Wolverine is no longer, he's dead, so to speak. So Old Man Logan comes from a dystopian-based timeline, and he's kind of like the new Wolverine, but he's a lot older. He's aged, he's matured, he's seen so much. Now, the original Wolverine has seen a lot, but this one has seen a whole lot more, so to speak. In terms of the skill sets, I think he's a more husky version of Wolverine. A husky, maybe not as fast, but I think he would lead into some really good brawler slasher based mechanics into the game itself. Next on the X-Men Gold team, we have Kitty Pryde, and she's actually the leader of her team, and we know that her powers include like phasing in and out of things. She could phase out, she could make things phase through her, and she could also phase through things. Basically, she could just repopulate her atoms in something, or kind of phase throughout, So I think her being in the game would be cool in terms of gameplay and mechanics. You could quickly press down, back, and triangle, and then it will lead into like the character kind of phasing through you or hitting you. And I would hope that there's gonna be, if she is in the game, there would be a time limit on her character into when she can and cannot do that. And in terms of fighting ability, I haven't really seen her as a fighter in past years of reading X-Men based comics. She's been a little bit more of a strategist and a leader when she was dealing with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and now she's the actual leader of the X-Men Gold team. So I'm pretty sure that now they could include her to do a lot of tricky based tactics. And if they wanted to give her a specific character assist, they could give that little dragon. I forgot the little dragon's name that she has, but they could also include that if they wanted to. Next on the list for the X-Men Gold team that I'm hoping that they include in Marvel's Capcom Infinite is Colossus. Now, Colossus has been always like a fan favorite. He's the big guy on the X-Men team. That could turn into Steel. I think he's just awesome. In general, he just looks cool, and the character himself has seen many things over time. So I think it would be really cool. I know I didn't really say that much about his character, but overall, Colossus is just really cool. So hopefully they put him in. Next character that I really hope they put in, I'm not too sure how the gameplay and mechanics will go, but we've seen other characters do teleportation, is Nightcrawler. Now, Nightcrawler is on the X-Men Gold team, and I think if we were to combine maybe some of the teleportation characters in the past, like Virgil, along with his sword, I think he would be a really good character. Sword in combination with his tail, it would lead into really great gameplay and mechanics as well. Next character on the X-Men Gold team we have Storm. Now, Storm, we've seen Storm in previous games, so I wouldn't be too excited to see her if she's back in the game, but I wouldn't be mad if she's in the game again. You know, she is the goddess of weather, and her powers involves weather manipulation. So moving along, then we have the next character is Prestige. Now, Prestige, she isn't a new character. Her, you know, we all know her as Rachel Summers, and Rachel Summers comes from a displaced alternate timeline, where she is the daughter of Scott and Jean Grey. But that's an alternate timeline, and she managed to get to the present 616 timeline, and you know we've known her to be a very powerful mutant, but also a host for the Phoenix at one point. But in the X-Men Gold, Mark Guggenheim is writing her as a new character, as a new title for her name as Prestige, and I think it's a way of reinventing her character to kind of steer away from the Jean Grey and Cyclops thing, so that she could be her own brand new character. So I think it will be really cool. So that is the X-Men Gold team. So it's Old Man Logan, Kitty Pryde, or Shadowcat, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Storm, and Prestige. I think it's a really good lineup, and I hope that they're actually in the game itself as a way of promoting X-Men characters for Resurrection. And there's also an X-Men Blue team, but that X-Men Blue team is basically the original X-Men from another time displaced timeline. Basically, they came from the past to the present, and it's basically Jean Grey, Cyclops, Beast, Iceman, and Angel. And Jean Grey is actually the leader of this team. I wouldn't be too excited to see that team, the original, the younger versions of the X-Men. But I'm more excited for the X-Men Gold team because it's kind of like an evolution of X-Men in terms of what we see in team up. So I would really like to see the older versions and the more experienced version of these characters in Marvel's Capcom Infinite, if we are to see any type of X-Men characters, that is. So let me know what you think about X-Men Resurrection and also their possible inclusion into Marvel's Capcom Infinite. Again, this is just speculation, and not really speculation, but more or less my hopes that if there are X-Men characters, that they include these X-Men characters as their baseline for promotion and also just for popularity, of the characters. Now, I know there's more X-Men characters because there are a ton of characters that I wish were in the game, but in terms of gameplay mechanics, I don't really foresee how those characters would really work inside of the game. But I might make a video talking about my true top 20 characters, but in the meantime, I just wanted to talk about the X-Men Gold characters and their possibility of being in the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite by my hopes. Alright, so let me know what you think. Let me know what X-Men characters would you like in the game, and if there were to be X-Men characters, would you like me to do any videos on specific characters, on their story, their background, a quick rundown on those characters? Alright everyone, so give me a like, thumbs up, and subscribe. Take care.